At the, I mean, it was obviously going to be Supergirl when he's like, I'm fostering Krypto.
Yeah.
And then Supergirl shows up at the end. So when Supergirl shows up and she's like drunk as hell, my first thought was Twitter. Honestly, it was my first thought because I'm so that was one of the things that when I texted you after of like I'm considering leaving Twitter.
Was that why?
Is because sometimes during this movie I would have a response where I'm like, this is so fun, I'm so touched, and then I would go, oh, but Twitter's gonna hate this moment.
Okay,
so
let's talk about that because I literally got off social media for this movie.
Yeah,
I go through my posts, I post, but I don't read anymore. I post and I walk away. Takes a lot of willpower. I knew going into this movie, I wouldn't be able to not have that happen throughout the experience. But I also knew after the movie, I was afraid it would tarnish my experience of what I truly felt. It was going to hit me twice. It was going to be like those thoughts. But then I was so afraid anything I said after, I'd be like, did I really feel that way? Like I was afraid of getting muddied down.
It's like, as you were talking, I'm going, well, the average individual is not rhinoceros skinned in their brain. Like if you expose yourself to enough of someone's opinion, it could seep into your brain.
Yeah.
And it could influence the way you perceive things, you know? That's like, I've heard that be like the power of an autobiography. If you're reading in like an inspirational autobiography, you're reading into someone's thoughts, that you're able to start thinking a little bit more like them. Same thing happens with Twitter when you're looking at a bunch of people's opinions and thoughts. So yeah, it's gonna affect me. But the Supergirl, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
We'll talk about that in the pod. I want to continue this conversation. That's more of a pod talk.
Yeah,
but Supergirl scene.
The Supergirl scene, it made me go, this is a scene that people are gonna rip apart on Twitter because it seems like it's too goofy, it's too whatever. But they're clearly setting up Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I mean, the movie's called Supergirl, but it's gonna be based off of Woman of Tomorrow. And then when I hopped into the Woman of Tomorrow comic book, when you first meet Supergirl, she's pissed drunk. She's wanting to celebrate her 21st birthday. And it's literally the setup of her in this movie is very akin to the setup of her in the actual super famous comic book that the movie is based off of. So I was like, oh shit. And also it's her in Krypto at the beginning too.
Yeah.
And I was like, suddenly I was on board for it because of that, you know, and I guess I mean, I know people who have no familiarity with the comic who didn't mind that scene at all. I haven't actually talked to anyone who had an issue with that scene. But
we're still in a bubble
right
now.
How did you feel when you saw that scene, though?
So, Woman of Tomorrow is one of my top 5 favorite DC comics ever.
Like a smart comic, guys.
Yeah, I love it. You're like, it's 4 issues in. But it's literally like it's in my top 5. It's one I recommend to people, not as their first comic, but like if you've read some comics, it's one of the like very essential readings. I think it's the best Supergirl comic comfortably because it's Star Wars. It's a walkabout story. Yeah, it's a lone wolf and cub story. It's
a
doing
revenge story.
Yeah. It's John Wick meets Star Wars. It's crazy. And
that's
like
actually not a bad way to put that.
It's a lot of comic, but
with like a bit of a cerebralness to it. Yeah,
so heady. Yeah. But I think it's approachably heady. But what I love about the comic is it does what the Superman movie did in making Supergirl relatable in the opposite way.
Sure.
Superman is relatable because he is so good you want to be like him. Supergirl is such a mess. You go, been there.
She's traumatized.
And we've all been there.
Yeah.
Superman is someone we want to be like. Supergirl is a cautionary tale but has the same good heart.
Yeah.
And I love that nature-nurture element. I love that the Supergirl One of Tomorrow comic captures that in 10 issues.
Yeah.
Now, what I also love is that it's so cinematic. Like, you're only halfway, but like the scope of the walkabout story is so clear. But this ending is, you asked me what I thought. As soon as Millie Alcock turned the corner and I could tell she was drunk, I was like, oh, we're just starting with Woman of Tomorrow. Like, there was no, like, we're page one. It is diving in to that story. And I think that is genius for the DCU to do because we are living in a post-Iron Man world where we have accepted a world where Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor all had different movies. And when the Avengers came out, my brain was like, how are they doing all these different tones and it's working? We've lived that for 20 years. It's time now to leapfrog into an era where a spinner rack is our experience. And I think we're there. We're like phase 2 and 3 are already there. But I love that the tone, it did feel different because that movie's going to feel different. I'm glad they didn't try to make it like, oh, let's sugarcoat her first, then in her own movie, let's go crazy.
You know what, though? The part that is kind of missing for me, and maybe it'll play different when I watch it again, because we've only seen it once at this point, and it was like a week ago or something, is that... Okay, we'll just use the comic as a comparison. in the comic, when you first see her and she's drunk, the other element, you could see this woman's in a lot of pain. Despite the sardonic side of her, despite the fact that she's still a badass, you could see that she is a very sad individual and who is still smiling through it. Versus here, I got a sense of just like young party girl.
Definitely sorority vibe, but
yeah,
I don't think you can introduce her sad because then people, because of our audience, like the world, is not going to be like, why would I watch that drunk sad girl movie? It still needs to market the next film. Like you can't open that way. Once you're in the movie, I think we'll see that for sure. It's Millie Alcock, but I don't think you could have added that layer in this. I think we're going to discover the reason she's drinking is the trauma. But I think if you introduce her with that, it's going to be like, why would I see sad girl movie?
Well, you see, there's a line where James Gunn revealed in interviews, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to kill off Krypto in the Superman movie. He said that.
Yeah.
But when he said that, and I haven't finished Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, but you said John Wick setup because part of it happens in the first issue. Krypto is severely injured, and I remember reading like, did they just fucking kill off Krypto? Like, and still they're like, I don't know if he's gonna survive, or even where I'm at right now. And I think that is brilliant because Krypto is an integral part of the Superman movie, but he doesn't feel like he's just there to set up the Supergirl movie
At all,
exactly. But Krypto is Supergirl's dog, and is such a big part of motivation and emotion for Supergirl in her own story. And that's what I mean about the cleverness. I'm getting chills just talking about it. That's what I mean about the cleverness of how they got you solely focused on the individual thing by insidiously setting up, not insidious, that sounds sinister, but by subtly setting up like, oh, but this is actually a massive factor into the next movie we're going to watch.
The reason I know this movie is exceptional is I know Krypto is Supergirl's dog. I know Supergirl comes out June 2026. Not once when he said Foster or any of that, I was like, oh, he's referencing Supergirl, but I thought that would be it. My not thinking of movie brain wasn't like, bet she shows up at the end. So when it happened, I felt like a 12-year-old. I was like, oh, they did that thing. I love this movie was so good that I didn't feel like it was doing the world building. It was just world building. Yeah. It didn't need to do world building. It just was world building. Yeah.